and it's expectations. We had a conversation, and we had lots of conversations in Dallas at SEC Media Days centered around that topic. What are the expectations for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State this year? What should fans expect from Ole Miss, et cetera, et cetera? And I have decided, and I want your take as well. So if you're listening, please text in and give me your opinion. But I want to clearly define what I think the expectations for Ole Miss and Mississippi State football should be in the 2024 season. Clearly defining expectations. And it's going to be a little bit different. There's more ambiguity with State because it is a first-year coach. And if you're looking for like a specific record, it is probably an exercise in futility, especially when you look at the schedule. I saw, for example, 24/7 put out a what would be an acceptable record story, and they polled people that cover all 16 programs in the SEC, and Mississippi State's was 8-4. That would be like a passable record for 24, and I saw that and I thought that is insane. If Jeff Lebby goes 8-4 in year one, he's SEC Coach of the Year. Let's be a little bit more realistic when it comes to expectations for them. But because he is a first-year coach and the schedule is what it is, there's a little bit more gray area for Ole Miss, and that's where I'll start. I think it's very, very clearly defined, and I put it in three categories. What will be a successful season? What will be an acceptable season? And what will be a failure? So we'll start with success. A successful season for Ole Miss, considering year 5 of Lane Kiffin, a quarterback that is in his 4th year, getting starts at the Power 5, now 4 level, 3rd year at Ole Miss, the number 1 transfer portal class, all of the guys they've got returning, continuity on the coaching staff, both coordinators returning, the schedule setting up very well. Success for Ole Miss would be making the second round of the playoff or beyond.
So even playoff that's in the expected category.
Yes, the second round of the playoff or beyond would be a successful season for Ole Miss in 2024. Anything beyond that is just icing on the cake. I do not at all like the championship or bust stuff. I had somebody ask me on Radio Row, they were in Oklahoma, they said, well, if Ole Miss doesn't win the SEC, is that a bad season? Is that a bust? And I said, no, what? Absolutely not. Championship or bust is a little bit crazy in this sport, especially when we're talking about a program that has not done that yet. So if for some reason they don't win the SEC championship, is that a failure of a season? Well, absolutely not. When it comes to basketball season, for Chris James and Chris Beard, it's tournament or bust. But once you get there, matchups can kind of throw a wrench into things. And so I don't like the championship or bust thing. But I do like the playoff or bust thing. And for this Ole Miss team, either A, they get to the second round by getting a bye and winning the SEC, or they are in the playoff. They don't win the SEC, but they make the playoff and they win that first game. That, to me, is success. Anything short of that is not a true success in 24. Acceptable, next category, a season that, hey, it was a good season. I accept the results. There's nothing to be upset about. Making the playoff and possibly losing your first game, not getting past the first round of the playoff, winning 10 games, getting in. If you don't get past that, it's acceptable. It's a good season. It's another double-digit win season for Kiffin. That would be 3 in 5 years, and one of those 5 years is the COVID year, kind of rewriting what is the standard at Ole Miss is Lane Kiffin, especially if he's able to pull that off. So that would be acceptable. You're okay with it. You cannot be negative about a double-digit win season and a playoff appearance about Ole Miss, but there would still be some left to be desired when you look at all of the things we mentioned before, schedule, quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. A failure is anything short of that. A 9-3 season, a playoff miss, and below would be no other way of spinning it, an absolute failure. And this is assuming relative health. If Jackson Dart, knock on wood, Ole Miss fans, gets knocked out of the Furman game for the season, well, that kind of changes this entire conversation. But assuming relative health, failure is missing the playoff. Anything short of a playoff appearance. Acceptable is making it, but going over. And a success is making it and getting to at least the second round of the playoff. And I think it's really that cut and dry for